the time has come where I answer two of the most popular questions on this channel. There's a funny one and there's a one where it makes sense to ask that kind of question. The one that makes sense is, Alpha, what are your settings? Makes perfectly good sense. And the second question is, how on earth are you running this simulator on the graphics card you got? Now let me explain what graphics card I have in the worldly terms. So we have a Bugatti and then we have a 50cc moped. The 4090 is the Bugatti and my graphics card is, I wouldn't say it's a 50cc, but I'll probably say it's a 1970, no, not 1970, like a 1999 Volvo. It's not the greatest, but listen, it is reliable. Trust me, I've had this graphics card for a while now. I think it's pushing 9 years now, 10. I don't know how long this graphics card's been out for. I've had it since sixth form, so I don't know, I can't be able to do the maths on it. But what I'm saying is, the video I've been waiting for is finally here.
It's about damn time. It's about damn time.
So before we get into the video, I have an announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy has launched the Alpha Plus channel. Some of you guys are aware of it, some of you guys are not. Check it out, link in the description. That's what I'm going to be trying to post as regularly as I can. I'm trying to post, the goal is to post every other day so you guys get consistent content on that side. And then on this main channel, you're still going to get the same videos you're getting here. Nothing changing over here. This may take a little bit longer. My goal is to post at least once a week on this channel, but high quality videos. I am already posting quality videos, but I want to take it to the next level. It's 2024, you know, but take it up a notch, you know what I mean? Also forgot to mention too as well, if you wait till the end of the video, I'm gonna show you a secret place I'll be doing a lot of my optimization in, which a lot of people don't know about, and I'm gonna show it at the end of the video, right? So stick true through this video. It'd be nice to quit. I'm explaining why I do certain things, and there's some things that don't need explanation. We'll skim right past it, right? Sounds good to you? If it sounds good, drop a like and comment and say, sounds good, boss. Well, don't call me boss, I don't like that. Just say, sounds good, bro, yeah? Nice. So let's look at the keyboard here. So this is where you guys see the custom camera view, where I can switch my cameras from wing view to cockpit view to outside the aircraft. This is how I do it. So go to camera here, and if you go to the cockpit camera, what you want to do is you want to have something called a save custom camera, and you can have it saved to whatever. So I've got it from 0 to 9. So what I do, I hit Control Alt, and as you can see is number 1, which is camera 1. Which means that when I press the number 1 button, which is camera 1, as you can see there, I'm pointing like you can see where I'm pointing at. If you, when I click the number 1 button, it switches to that number 1 camera view. Controller settings, this is how I get my drone view. So you guys want to know how I get that kind of, you know, what do you call it? The plane spotter view? This is how I do it here. So I got my drone camera, I think it's standard. I've not changed much from here. These are my settings here. So if I scroll down here, you can just see here. Take a screenshot of this if you need to. Slew mode, I'll be slewing when I just need to move an aircraft out the way, very important. And I think I have my slew button pressed to Y on the keyboard. I'll show you that in a second. So what that does is just like, if you're in a stuck position, just press Y, it takes you out, slew around. Very simple. I never used to do it before, but once I knew about it, I started doing it a lot more. It makes it easier to get good shots here. And this is how I toggle my drone view. So I just click it on my Xbox button. I use the controller for drone view. I know you can do it on keyboard, but that's just long, man. So this is my button setup. So if I go to trimming here, so I've got the same as it is, rudder trim, pretty standard here. If I go to my secondary options here, pretty standard here too as well. Spoilers and flaps. The most important thing is you're probably wondering, how do I set my reversers? Let me show you that. So if I go to power management here and I go to throttle, so what I do is I have a button that I hold. So what you want to do is like you bring the levers. I'm sounding American. What's the right way of saying it? The throttle. Let's just say the throttle. I bring the throttle down and I click the button and I move the throttle up, which toggles the reverse, just then I can modulate my reverse, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I do. And this is my throttle here too as well. I have reverse axis because, you know, I think if you leave it the other way around, the throttles kind of flip around, if that makes sense. So yeah, and of course landing gear, which is just the normal up and down on this. So if you do have this, I've got the full what's it called, I've got the full setup. So I've got the spoilers, I've got the throttle, and what else have I got? And I got the flaps too as well. I had to look down to check what it looked like. It was the flaps there. I mean, we can look at the 747 too as well. 747, I have it all connected to, so I have throttle 1 and 2 on throttle 1, and 3 and 4 on throttle 2, and I have my reversers on all reversers here, so it toggles all the reversers. I don't do individual because it trips out a little bit, but apart from that, everything is pretty much the same. So what I'll do is I will just scroll down here. You guys can take a screenshot so you can have the settings that I have. There you go. Screenshot this, screenshot this, and screenshot that, and let me go back to the Airbus as well. Not sorry, to the Airbus, to the Puna G, because I know a lot of you guys be flying that. So you can screenshot this, screenshot this, screenshot this, screenshot this, and screenshot that. Lovely. Now let's look at the Airbus here real quick. Airbus, Airbus, Airbus. I think I was going 320, right? Excuse me, I'm trying to go to my Airbus, lad. Alright, guys, we're going to be here all day, aren't we? Yep, we're going to be here all day. Airbus, 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 Airbus. Airbus. There we go, took it sweet time here. So engine instruments here. Over here is how I start off my engines, my left and right. And this is how I'm able to switch the modes from ignition to start. And I forgot the other, what's it? You got crank. Alright, so you got crank, normal mode, and ignition. Yes, that's how I'm able to change it right there. I got my trim settings here too as well. So again, screenshot this as you can. And brakes here too as well. I've got, that's how I set my low, medium, and high auto brakes. There is a thing that you can change up to as well when you got the full throttle. This is all pretty much default. So if you have this, it'll probably look pretty much to what you get straight out the box. Alright, so let's look at the side stick here. So I do have a yoke, my Turtle Beach yoke, and I'll put that in a second so you can see what those settings are like. So I have something called a tiller setting. So I like to use this as a tiller because on the joystick you can have this, I can have a section where you can use the axis to turn left and right. So I use that as my tiller, and how I do that is if I go to, I believe it's miscellaneous. There you go, miscellaneous here, no steering wheel axis, I have it reverse, it works really well, it's a lot of fun, and it's really nice when you can, you know, you feel like you got the yoke here, but you're not using the rudder pedals, you're actually using something to turn. It feels more realistic, you know. And everything else here is just my camera setting. These are more custom to me. Of course, I've got this one here too as well, which is really good looking left and right, because sometimes if I just need to look left quickly and I don't want to use my heads, sometimes I get a bit tired, I can use my joystick and it works pretty well. Alright, cool. So this is my yoke system, and I don't use the throttle on it because I do have the Thrustmaster Airbus throttle quadrant for that, and this is what I've got going over here. So if we just have a look over here, so this is how I trim. I use the I've got like a button on the left. This is what I use for the trim. Autopilot disconnect is button 9. So if you do have this yoke, just take a screenshot of this, you should be Gucci on that side. The reason why I have it on here because I use the button behind it as my push to talk button. That's how I speak on the Vaccinator, which is right at the back, which I believe is, I didn't want to do that, so I'm gonna just cancel that. It's basically this button over here, right at the back there, where my mouse is pointing at right there. Beautiful. So I've got it set to commercial. This is basically my setting for everything, really, anytime I use my yoke. So let's have a look at the rudder pedals. Simple, simple, simple. I've got the rudder axis and I've got my pedals here, left, right brake, left brake. So now let's look at the Toby. If you guys use the Toby eye tracker, because I know you guys been asking questions about it, this is my sensitivity. This is what I got going over here. I am testing it around. It's not very high, but this is what I got going on over here. One thing that I'll state is I've got this pretty low because when that center stabilization, I like it, but it's a bit annoying when you're facing the runway and then you're looking a little bit and it moves back into the center. It's a bit jarring, but this is just enough to where it feels smooth and it's not got that weird kind of, if you use the Turbo track, you know what exactly what I'm talking about. It's like if you kind of move, it gets stuck in the middle, continues moving again. It's like stick in the middle. It kind of removes it, but it's there a little bit, but after a while you'll get used to it, you know. And I have this here too as well. I used to have it a lot higher, but then I've noticed that I just like it where if I do really big movements there, it's not going to be too twitchy in the flight back, you know. So these are my settings here, pretty straightforward here. And also make sure this is set to 1. Very important you set that to 1, all right. And position 2 as well, set that to like 0.5. But everything else though you can play around. I said the one you want to play around with the most is, depending if you want to use your eyes, you can use your eyes. I don't use my eyes. I used to before, but then it's annoying when you're looking down and you're moving your eyes. It gets a bit jarring after a while. So I'll keep it like that. That should help you a lot when it comes to your head tracking. This is my tillers, and now let's look at it when I'm flying the Airbus. Everything's just the same. Autopilot button is the red button right over here. Flight controls here, pretty straightforward. Control surfaces, elevator, simple as that. I got my nose steering wheel on this here too as well, which is fun. I love using it. And this is where I got my camera too as well. This is how I reset my eye tracking. This is, I retrack it on this button here. That's how I reset it and toggle my tracking with this button over here. Now, the most important thing you're probably looking at is my sensitivity. When it comes to the elevator input, I like it linear, you know, because I feel like I got a lot more control when it comes linear. But when it comes to, you know, the rolling left and rolling right, I like to have a bit more control over that, you know what I mean? Because sometimes if you just move, sometimes I'm a little bit heavy-handed sometimes, so if I move that really quickly, I don't want the aircraft just to back violently to the left, you know. As you can see, if I just do like that, it's a lot smoother, you know, and I'm putting quite a lot of input in. But obviously, if I'm going all the way to the right here, it backs to the right. So this is what's helped me to land a lot better, more consistent too as well. And of course, I've got my Z-axis here too as well, you know. I might move it linear because why not? But at the moment, it serves me well, so not too bad at all. So let's have a quick look at my at my yoke. If I go sensitivity here, everything's all linear, like over here is linear, over here is linear, that's linear, and that's linear. I just have it at that because yeah, I like it like that. It feels more natural. I don't need to put a certain curve or anything like that because this goes full 90 each side, so it's very responsive and it feels very nice too as well. I may change the elevator input a little bit, you know what I mean, because sometimes the metal shaft does get a little bit sticky, so I might bring sensitivity down maybe a little bit, have a little bit of a curves just so I've got more control of the landing. But apart from that, all good. So that is the settings for my controls. So I know you guys been wanting to know that. There you go, I've given you the source there. Alright, so let's look at the assistants here. So I have this mainly on hard or just basic, everything's off. It's user experience here, everything is all kind of off. I don't GFX. Listen, I'm not flying fighter jets in this at the moment, so I just kind of have it off. Turn this off, ladies and gentlemen. This setting, turn it off because it is so annoying after you may have had a bad landing. We've all had our bad landings and you want to shut down your engine, just forget about everything's all happened and you get a pop-up saying and the flight is ended. Don't tell me the flight's ended, okay? I know it's ended because I slammed the landing. Leave me alone. So that helps with, you know, calm your nerves down a little bit, you know. But apart from that, ATC voices, I have that completely off because I use VATSIM. And points of interest, I only have it on if I'm just messing around or if I'm looking for a certain animal. I have that on. Piloting, everything off. People, listen, boys and girls, there are some girls joining, which is kind of lit. Not kind of, which is lit. I don't want to see any of you guys with your auto rudder assisted joke. No. If you are subscribed to this channel, we don't do none of that. I want it all off, okay? Turbulence, realistic. You know what I mean? Want it all. Alright? Realism at its finest. Notification, all off. It's jarring. Feels unrealistic. I hate it. Navigation aids, off. Don't need it. Unrealistic. Fairly undamaged. Got that all disabled because trust me, if you have it on, especially on VATSIM, some way, somehow, you'll just crash and you're just like, what's happening? You're in the air, mind your business, and then your screen blacks out and you have to restart your whole flight. I just do it, I just turn it off because I just avoid everything. Icing effect, I have it on. You can have it just visual, but I have it on. So if there's actual ice on the aircraft, it makes sense and the aircraft behaves in the way it needs to behave when there's ice on. The aircraft system here, we've got an auto mixture, unlimited fuel, aircraft lights, gyro drift. I have that on, everything else is all off. So that's the assistance. Now we're going to the general options. The most important one is my graphical settings. So you guys know I do rock a GTX 1070, which doesn't allow me to have the other settings that you guys be having on your 3080s, 4080s, 4090s, alright, your little show-offs. Even on the 20 series cards too as well. So you guys are the show-offs here. But listen, this is what I got here. So I'm rocking on TAA. Render scaling just onto my monitor, 1920 by 1080. And I have this set to 50. Reason being is because it just looks the best and it doesn't hurt my performance as much. VSync off for a special reason. And NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, I have that on boosts. Recently turned that on and I felt the sim run a little bit more smoother than it did before. Version I'm rocking is DX11 and this is all custom because let me explain. So terrain level of detail I have it set to 75. 100 hits my performance a little bit too much. 50 doesn't look good. 75 is a good medium. Off-screen terrain pre-caching. I'll be honest, I've never really touched this. I've just kept this a medium. Terrain vector. Listen, if you're flying like Airbuses, if you're flying the planes and you're flying above like 20,000 feet, bro, terrain from far down just looks the same. No point having that set high. If you've got the capability of doing it, go ahead and do it. But for me, there's legit no point. Doesn't make any sense. Buildings, I'll be honest, I don't really look at buildings too tough because we're always in the air. 95% of the time I'm always in the air. Well, if you watch your video, it was like 100% on, well, it felt like 99% on the ground and 1% in the air. But if you watch your video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Trees and grass, I have it set to medium, not because of I don't care because you don't see them. The reason I have it set to that is because the detail in the bushes feels more realistic on medium. Because when you go from high to ultra, it just looks too cut, if that makes sense. And it doesn't feel, because if you've seen the forest from above, it's not like everything's all linear. There's some trees that look kind of iffy, some trees that look good, some trees that look bad, and the medium just mushes it nicely. So when you look at it from above, forestry looks really good. That's why I have it set to medium, because it's just more of a visual thing. And of course it helps with performance too as well. And same with grass too as well. Buildings I mentioned too as well already. Object level of detail, set it to 65. Don't need it any higher. That's just basically the level of detail you have on the building, especially when you're at the airport. This helps me a lot because if you're flying a VATSIM network, this is something you want to turn down if you haven't got the best of the GPUs, because you've got other aircrafts loading in, and with that too as well, high is a bit much. And sometimes the level of detail could be just be a chimney or something, and that could hit your performance. It's crazy, but it's true. Now I'm looking at this here, volumetric clouds. This is the only setting I have here, I believe, that I have set to high. Reason being because, ladies and gentlemen, pop quiz. How much time do you spend on the ground and how much time do you spend in the air? I believe, and according to the statistics, oh, I can't even say that word. According to the statistics, you probably spend more time in the air, correct? Yes, which means that you want your clouds to look good. You want to be able to fly through the cloud, break through the clouds, and be like, damn, this is beautiful. And for a split second in your life, you forget you're actually in your room and you actually feel like you're in an aircraft. That's why I have it set to high. Texture resolution, have it set to medium. A lot of these settings are pretty low because with what I'm going to show you after this and at the end of the video, you're going to see why I don't really care about these settings too tough. Right, let's look at everything else here. That's just to my preference. 4x4 works very well. Texture synthesis, have it set to medium. Water waves, listen, you don't need it high, bro. Unless you use MFS for boat simulation, then why do you need it? I might be moving to low. It's nothing too crazy. You're in the air majority of the time, and trust me, you've seen it in my sim. When it's a windy day and you're like 20,000 feet in the air, the waves look the same. It looks great. Cool. Shadow maps, I have my shadows pretty low, simply because if you look at a shadow in real life, shadows are not sharp. They're kind of like a bit blurry sometimes, and I like the blur look to the shadow. It doesn't look sharp, if you know what I mean. So I have it like that. It feels more realistic to me. Contact shadows, I have it on. I think you can turn it off. Can you turn it off? I think you can. Can you turn it off? Yeah. I have contact shadow on because I like seeing, especially when it's like a sunny day and you're landing in an aircraft, and you know, you can see your kind of shadow of the aircraft landing in. It's a really cool thing. I like that. Windshield effect, I have that set to medium. Ambient, I have it set to low, and I got, to be honest, a lot of settings here that are pretty new to me. I'll keep it a stack. Light shaft, I have it set to low. I like to see a little bit when it's rainy. You can see kind of like that kind of heavenly kind of rays. I like that. It looks really cool. Bloom, I have it set it off because I don't get nothing from it and I don't really like it. That's more of a personal preference. You can have it on if you want to. Depth of field, I have it set to medium. I like it because you know when you got that, you know when I use a blur, I like that, you know what I mean. Motion blur. I have mine set to low. I like a little bit of motion blur, but if you've got it any higher, bro, it just looks weird. Lens correction, turn it off. Flare, turn it off. It was actually affecting my FPS here. And my glass cockpit refresh rate, I have it set to medium, and it's worked out pretty well. You can have it set to low, but then your instruments are move a little bit laggy, but you do get overall better performance. Medium is a nice middle ground for me. These are my camera settings, so you can probably screenshot this. There's no reason behind it, really. I mean, to be honest, there are calculators online that can give you a better, like, you know, if you've got like loads of monitors, you can probably use the calculators to get the right zooming distance so it feels more realistic in the aircraft. But yeah, it's got the sound here. Sound, I have it all on my system default device, which is my headset. Headset simulation, I have that off. Don't need that off here. I have that off here too as well because I don't like to hear the warning sound. I like to make it sound realistic. And sometimes if I'm hearing the fire alarm in the flight deck, let me just go outside the flight deck and just forget there's a fire at all, you know? Nice and simple. Majority of this, I kind of just have it off here. Mute audio. Background I have that off because sometimes I do tab out and go on YouTube if I'm flying, and you know what I mean. And you know, I have that on there right there too. So massive volume, all at 100 here. Over aircraft, I have that set to 7. That's sim because of the VAT sim. The aircraft and VAT sim are loud as hell, boy. So yeah, environment, I have that set to 84. User interface, music, I turn it all off because no. No. Right, traffic. Okay, this is what I've got really low actually, because I'll be honest, I don't really care about the traffic on the ground. I care about aircraft traffic, but not this kind of traffic. And I like a little bit of traffic, you know what I mean? And this works out very well for me. So there's a few boats, few ships, a few cars, and especially when you get a few cars landing over a runway, you can see them on the highway. It's nice, you know what I mean? It's a good amount of vehicles I see, and I'm very happy with that. And the ground aircraft density, I have that completely off, which means that because I use VATS in traffic, if you have one of them on, you'll just see a random aircraft spawning. We don't know that. That's 0. And I have this to 100% because why not, man? If I see like a bunch of flamingos, I'm gonna be happy to see that, you know what I mean? Let's keep it real. I have all this to off, and I got this on, and I got this on. Traffic variety. I can't even speak today, boy. I have this set to ultra, you know, and that's only mainly if I'm flying on multiplayer and I'm flying with you guys. You know what I mean? I want to see you guys in the best quality as possible. You feel me? Right, data. So data, all of everything is all on here, and I've got data limitation. I have that off. Bandwidth, I have it off here too as well, and I have a 50 gig rolling cache. No, let me tell you something here. This is so important. I'm so glad we came across this. Reason why you want to have a cache is anywhere you fly, and if you fly that over and over again, it helps it to load things in quicker. You may have noticed if you fly to a whole new different part of the world you've never flown to before, performance drops. It makes sense because it's first time loading in it. I fly a lot in Europe and I barely get any frame drops. The only frame drops I really get if I'm like recording. That's the only time I get frame drops. And rolling cache helps. I dedicate 50 gig, but I might increase that to 100 gig. I'm gonna be honest though, if you do that, it takes some time for it to really like load in, stuff like that. So if you've got time, if you've not got any flying to do, get that sorted out. Listen, we'll get you sorted over there. Flight model here, I've got it set to modern. Miscellaneous here, English US hybrids, because I am from the UK. We don't use pound IB. That is done because pounds is a currency. There we go. Everything else over here, Gucci. Accessibility, the only thing I have off here, menu tooltips, turn it off. Please turn it off. Interaction, legacy, tooltip, just everything tooltip related, just have it off. You don't need it. Menu, this is all up to you. Skip pre-flight animation, I have that on because I can't be bothered. I'm trying to get straight into the action, you know what I mean? And everything else here, this is more up to your preferences. Developer, no need to look at that. VR, don't need to look at that. Experimental here, I have low power mode on, which helps with performance, and I have this on here too as well, which helps me with some sort of performance. Don't know what it exactly does, but it's worked out. So that's all the settings here. Now let me show you what you've been waiting for. Right, so what you want to do is you want to go into your settings and type in gaming. You want to go to graphics and you want to find Microsoft Flight Simulator. So then what you want to do here, you want to click on this and you want to go to options. You want to change this to high performance. A lot of people don't know this, but change that to high performance. Trust me, it'll save you. Also too as well, Xbox Game Bar. If you've got that, which you all should have, turn it off, please. You don't need it. It takes way too much of your resources, and that's how you get a lot of lag in your seat if your game bar is on. Right, so that's the settings part. Now let me show you what I'm really looking at. So what you want to do, you want to right click and you want to go to NVIDIA control panel. Now I can tell you this right now, I've probably spent more time on this than I have been flying. I'm on this like 24/7 because I'm always optimizing. So let's go to program settings here. You want to find your simulator. Alright, so you want to find your Microsoft Flight Simulator here, and you see what I was talking about, the settings in the sim. This is where I do all my settings, okay? So this is what you're looking at here. I have FXAA off because I've got that on in the simulator, but you may have noticed that in the anisotropic, is how you pronounce it? Anisotropic filtering, it was like 4. I've got it set to 16 here. Doesn't affect my FPS, but it looks 10 times better. See, these are the tricks you can do to make your sim look good while not destroying your GPU. Come on now. Anti-aliasing, I've got that control with the application, which is basically the settings within MFS. I have my transparency set to off here too as well. And this is my GPU, which is just basically the GPU got, which is my GTX 1070. This is proof that I have my GPU set to that. I have my setting here to my driver default. Leave it as that here. Low latency I set to ultra. So if you remember, we got low latency to on and boost, and I've got it also set here to ultra. So I'm getting more. You know what I mean? This is what you gotta do. You gotta spend time over here. My max frame rate I have it set to 33. Now let me explain why I have this. This is only set because I record on the same PC. Now if I wasn't recording on the same PC, I'll have that set to 40. I don't need to go any higher simply because I've tried it before when I wasn't recording. 40 FPS is the sweet spot. You're not using too many of your resources and the sim is smooth as butter. You don't need to be going any higher. If you want to go higher, fair enough, but listen, 40 FPS has worked out very well for me and I'm happy with that. G-Sync, I have a G-Sync monitor. If you've got it, use your G-Sync. This is why I got V-Sync off in the sim, because I'm using G-Sync here. You see what I'm doing here? I'm telling you, I'm glad if you stay to the end, you'll get in the gems here, because nobody knows about this. Everyone looks at the settings within. So then we can look at the GTX 1070. That's the GPU I'm using. Prefer maximum performance. Now if you remember just a few seconds ago, we were looking at the settings within Windows, and we have it set to high performance. And then what you want your GPU to be on prefer maximum performance, which then if something fails on the setting side of things, your GPU knows it prefers the maximum performance. Come on now, man. Listen, guys, I'm giving you the juice here. Right, we're gonna have this set to on. I used to have this on allow, but clamped has worked out a lot better for me. That's just on my opinion, and I've liked it a lot. I've got this set to high performance. Reason why I don't need to go to high quality because I've got it set to 16x on top of here. Now you see what I'm doing here? It's like a placebo effect. No, it's not really, because placebo means it's kind of fake, but you feel like you got it. It sort of is, isn't it? Because then the sim looks better than it should, simply because I'm just changing things around and just making it work in my favor. So I've got this set to high performance here. You want to have this on. Have this on. Thread optimization. Have this on. This is the greatest thing ever. Thread optimization, have that on. If your GPU has it, check it. I mean, I think every GPU has it. If my GTX 1070 can have it, I'm sure majority of you guys will have this or have that on. Triple buffering, I have that off. There's no need for that. Doesn't work very well for me. Vertical sync, I have it off because of the G-Sync working for me. And virtual reality pre-rendered frames, I have that set to 1. And everything else there is just kind of just set with the default NVIDIA control set. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my setting for 2024. I'm gonna stick to it. If anything changes, check the Discord out. I want to try and be more active in there. I haven't been for the past couple of months because I've been so focused on the main channel, but I'm gonna get back to it. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ding that notification bell. I know it's a different video, but God bless you. Jesus loves you. See you in the next video.